Hello everyone. Today I want to cover Captain Jack's theme, which is from the show Torchwood, which is a spin-off of the Doctor Who show, which is really popular in the UK. So this was composed by Murray Gold. He's really good, makes really exciting music. And this score in particular, this online score, was arranged by Just Another Whovian. I don't know who Just Another Whovian is, but whoever he is, he did a very good job. So let's dive right in. Actually, before I dive right in, I want to cover what I'm going to go over. So let's go ahead and listen to this song so you have an idea of what it sounds like. Wait. Starting from the beginning. Let's stop it right there. Okay. So from what you could notice, what you could very obviously notice is that you have the same melody playing pretty much the whole time. And we call this a motif. This motif right here. So it repeats 3 times, and then there's like a change. And this illustrates what we call in music call and response. Call, 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 response. And that response leads into the next set of call, 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 response. So yeah, it's sort of, this whole thing is divided into like repetitions of 4-bar sets. And the first 4-bar set leads into the second one, and the second one, you'll notice the treble clef, it's different. There are more notes in the treble clef than there were before. This is because it's harmonized. And so you'll have noticed that the melody repeats the whole time, but it's also changing and it's building in intensity. And that is this harmonization. Another thing I want you to notice is the bass line. Bum 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 bum. It's a typical ascending bass line, and it builds in intensity, it builds in urgency, then it drops back down, and it does it all over again. So it's like, it feels like it's constantly building, which is cool. And we start out in mezzo forte, which is, you know, almost loud, and we move to forte, which is loud. And when we're at forte, we have a doubling in the bass at the octave. So you have like a C, and you have a C an octave lower. And you also have this motif doubling at the octave in addition to that harmony. The harmony is the middle row, bottom row is the original motif, the top row is the doubling at the octave. For those of you who are not familiar with reading music. So yeah, and then we go on, we go on, we go on. Fortissimo, it's even louder. And we have the same motif repeating again. This time it's transposed up an octave. See, it's very high pitched. That means it's transposed up an octave. And then we bring it back down. So you may have noticed that this 4-bar section is actually a little bit different than everything else. Whereas everything else is dun 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 3 times followed by dun 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 dun. This one is dun 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 dun. So yeah, it's a little different, and that difference is kind of like, it's important. It gets you to pay attention. Here's an analogy. If you're looking at flashing lights and it's flashing red, 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 green, red, 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 green, red, 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 green, and then all of a sudden it's like red, blue, yellow, red, then you'd be like, okay, you'd pay attention. Something different is going on here, and that's what's happening here. And the reason that it's getting us to pay attention is because it's about to lead into this completely different transition section. So let's give that a listen. So the transition rhythmically it was different. It's a straight 16th note rhythm here in the treble, whereas here it was like dun 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 dun. It's like a galloping rhythm, dun 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 dun, right? And there's also an accent. These little caret marks indicate accents on the first of each pair of eighth notes. So it's like dun 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 dun. So it's very much like a march. And this long caret right here indicates crescendo in volume. Crescendo starts out mezzo piano, slightly louder than quiet, builds in volume, goes back down, and then it repeats, and then it goes to this. And this is like super loud, and this part is like, it's very different, and it's like, what's going on here? And it comes to this section, which is slow. And the whole point of this section is just to sort of form a bridge between this transition and when it gets back into it. It's just, you know, something different that he did. It's not super fast paced. It's like halftime, and you know, that's kind of what composing is about. At some points you can't really explain why he did it exactly, other than just to do something different. And so now we get back into it. So if you'll notice, this has 3 Fs, which is what? Forte, fortissimo, fortissimo. And it's also in a different key. It's, instead of being in C sharp minor, it's in E, it's in D sharp minor. So it's up a whole tone. And when you move a key up a whole tone, that makes it more energetic. And since this is like an urgent piece, it makes it more urgent. And yeah, it's louder than before. We have doubling at the octaves. It's still repeating the same motif, and it's still playing on those same techniques of harmonization and whatnot, and following the same patterns. So then we get to a rest. New section. Now it's going to repeat, but doubling, harmonization. Da, da. Right. So whereas most of the song has this motif and it's very staccato, very rhythmic, this is very slowed down and it's like more flowy. And it is quite different from the rest of the song, not only rhythmically but melodically. And it's one thing I noticed about the melody is it's kind of weird at points. And since this is a sci-fi show, it's pretty fitting for the melody to be weird at points. If it was really like normal and boring, then that just wouldn't really fit. And what makes it weird is the tension and the lack of resolution at certain points. So you can give that another listen at some point and definitely notice that. But I don't have too much else to talk about here. We quiet down here, we go to mezzo piano, and we lead into this finale, and in the finale the bass notes are a little bit different. They're not merely doubled in octaves, they're actually, I think, a fourth apart here, but whatever. That's pretty much the whole song, and the take-home points are that there are just a few techniques that Murray Gold relied on to create this really good song, and that is repetition of this motif, building on the motif with harmony and doubling at the octaves, increases in volume, dynamic increases, and different sections, transitions, things to provide contrast. So I hope that this was informative and that you learned something that you can apply to your own compositions or just think about next time you listen to music. I'll end this by playing the fully orchestrated song. So, and I'll also try to follow along so you can sort of like visualize what's going on. All right. Now this part diverts from the score a little bit. Here we go. Okay. One final thing that I forgot to point out is that, as you remember, I was talking about the ascending bass line. How does it go? Bum 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 bum, and that pretty much continues throughout the whole song, except in this transition. Well, no, it continues in the transition. It continues throughout the whole song until we get to this new section, and this new section it goes down. It goes here. Listen. Dun, 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 and then that repeats. So yeah, like usually when you have a pitch that's ascending, it's more energetic, and when it's descending, it's less energetic. And as you could tell from listening, this whole section was definitely less energetic. So that's sort of the science and the art behind music, and I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll talk to you later. See you next time. Bye.